You wake up, not to silence, but to a faint glow already lighting your face, a screen waiting before your thoughts even begin. Before your mind fully wakes, your thumb moves almost automatically, scrolling without thinking, like a habit already in motion. One post, then another, each one blending into the next, and suddenly time begins to slip away unnoticed. It feels harmless at first, even relaxing, like a break from reality. But something deeper is quietly happening underneath. Something carefully designed, structured, and optimized to keep you right here for as long as possible. Social media isn't just content you see. It's a system working behind the screen, shaping what you feel and how long you stay. A system built on human behavior, tracking patterns, learning what captures attention, often better than we understand ourselves. Every like, every comment, every notification you receive is not random. It is part of a calculated loop. It acts as a reward, small but powerful, triggering a reaction inside your brain. And your brain responds instantly, without asking questions, without slowing down. Inside your brain, a chemical called dopamine begins to release, creating a brief sense of pleasure. But it doesn't respond to predictable rewards. It reacts more strongly to uncertainty, to surprise. That's the key difference. You don't know what the next scroll will bring, and that unpredictability keeps your attention locked in. It's the same psychological principle used in slot machines, built on chance and anticipation. You pull the lever, hoping something exciting appears, something worth the effort. Most of the time, nothing meaningful happens, just ordinary outcomes. But sometimes you get something rewarding, something that feels good enough to remember. And your brain holds on to that feeling, pushing you to try again. Social media works exactly in the same way, but faster and without limits. Endless scrolling becomes a digital slot machine in your hand, available anytime. Each swipe carries the possibility of something new, something interesting, something emotionally engaging, something funny, something shocking, something that makes you feel connected or understood. And when it hits, your brain lights up again, reinforcing the behavior. But that feeling fades quickly, almost instantly after it appears. So you keep scrolling, searching again, trying to recreate it, chasing the next moment, the next reward, the next emotional reaction. And slowly, without realizing it, your sense of time begins to disappear. Minutes turn into hours, but it feels like only seconds have passed. But addiction is not only about rewards. There's something deeper involved. It's also about connection, a basic human need. Humans are naturally wired to belong, to be noticed, to be accepted by others. And social media provides that instantly, without effort, without delay. A like becomes a form of approval, a small signal that you are seen. A comment becomes validation, a response that acknowledges your presence. A share becomes importance, making you feel valued in a wider space. But here's the hidden problem. That validation is temporary. It fades quickly, leaving a gap behind. So you return again and again, trying to refill that feeling. And over time, your brain begins to depend on it more than you realize. Not just for entertainment anymore, but for emotional stability, even identity. You begin to measure your worth through numbers, visible metrics on a screen. Followers, likes, views, all turning into indicators of value. And when those numbers drop, your mood shifts with them. Because now it's no longer just an app you use, it becomes part of how you see yourself, how you judge your own worth. But there's another layer working silently: algorithms. These platforms are not passive tools. They are constantly active, constantly learning. They observe what you like, how long you pause, what you ignore, what you return to. Then they adjust, feeding you more of what keeps you engaged, not necessarily what is true or helpful or meaningful, but what keeps you scrolling, what holds your attention the longest. Because your attention is the real product. The longer you stay, the more valuable your time becomes to the system. So the system evolves, adapting quickly, becoming more precise over time. It learns your patterns, your interests, your emotional triggers, until it reaches exactly what will keep you engaged. And once it reaches that point, it becomes very difficult to step away. Over time, your brain begins to change its habits. Short bursts of content replace long, focused thinking. Quick reactions replace deep reflection. Your mind adapts to constant stimulation, always expecting something new, making silence feel uncomfortable, almost unnatural. And boredom, something once normal, becomes difficult to tolerate. So you return to the screen again, not always because you want to, but because your brain has learned to expect it, to need it. This is what addiction looks like. Not dramatic, not obvious, but quiet, repetitive, and built into daily routines. It blends into normal life, making it harder to notice. Yet awareness begins to change everything. Because once you understand the system, you start to see patterns clearly. You recognize triggers, habits, loops forming around you. And slowly, step by step, you begin to take control back. You choose when to scroll instead of reacting automatically. You pause before engaging, creating space in your mind. You disconnect, even for briefly. And in that moment of pause, you remember something important. Your attention has value, and where you place it shapes your thoughts, your time, your life. Social media itself is not the enemy, but it is powerful, and power without awareness can easily turn into control. But with awareness, it becomes something different, a tool rather than a trap. And in the end, the control returns back to you.